Welcome to Las Vegas for the PGT PLO Series. For the second time in 2024, we bring you an epic series of 4 card poker events. Of course, that beautiful game, Pot Limit Omaha. This is event number 1. It's a 5K buy-in event with 155 entries. We are down to the final 6, and you'll see 2 very familiar faces and 2 others who have also been here many times before. We'll introduce you guys to all these players, but of course, headlining here, Jonathan Little on the left-hand side and Josh Arieh on the right. Here's a look at our final table chip counts as Lautaro Guerra, the winner of the inaugural PGT PLO Series, is our chip leader. Sean Troha, no stranger to winning here at the studio either, is in second place, followed by Josh Arieh. Those are the 3 big stacks coming into this final table. John Little has a lot of work to do. 23 places got paid here at the final table, $38K guaranteed for the final 6, and $178,000 up top for the winner. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters alongside me for the duration of the PGT PLO Series presented by PLO Mastermind. Welcome inside the Triangle Studio. Players are receiving the beverages. Most people drinking some coffee. The players finished last night at around 1 a.m. I spoke to Costa. He said his wife is going to be watching, so I'll give her a shout out here right off the top. There it is. A look at Chris, who looks down at Ace King 10-10, and of course he has a tough situation in front of him with the short stack, facing big stacks in the blinds whenever he is on the button. In this case, though, Jay Little in the big blind with an equally short stack. Donnie, the PGT PLO Series, we'll get into it much deeper as the event gets underway. But first, let's address how good the atmosphere has been and will be as we look at Arieh picking up 2 jacks.
I mean, the atmosphere for the PLO series is the best of the best. I think I like it the most out of all of our series. You get a full room, you get a bunch of faces that you don't see all the time, you know, because they are PLO specialists. They kind of like live in little caves here and there, but they come out for this series. A lot of different groups traveling from all over the world. The Finns are back. I know you and I both love the Finns being back in town. So yeah, great vibe all around and kicking it off with a great final table here.
All right, hand number 1. Arieh in the tank here with jacks from the small blind. This event is played with time bank chips to keep the speed of play nice and
Most I've ever seen
smooth.
anybody put into a 6 big blind decision.
Oh, look at this. Little is going to make the call as Costa raced to pot from the cutoff. King 4 deuce rainbow on the flop. That's top pair, top kicker for Costa, if I recall correctly here. But Little decides to move all in with the Queen Jack 9-9 and just 2 outs for the former World Poker Tour champ.
Unfortunately,
You're never at 0%.
Unfortunately, you
Jonathan,
need
you're
a
never
10.
at 0%.
You got spades or no spades?
No
One
suit.
spade. Cool.
Backdoor spades is what Little wants, or a 9
I got the
to
10
take the lead
blockers.
here immediately.
Oh my God.
Okay, that helps.
King on the
Okay,
turn keeps him at
I
just
had
2
the other
outs.
2 nines.
Really?
No.
I don't even have any outs.
His tea has not even cooled down enough yet to drink. Jonathan Little might be gone in
that
just
was great.
1 hand, and the 6 on the river will
Jonathan, great
secure
seeing
his
you.
elimination. Christopher
Why
Costa
didn't you play? What in the world's wrong with you?
gets exactly what he was looking for on hand number 1, and he instantly becomes a contender here as the game of Pot Limit Omaha, of course, filled with ups and downs, filled with potential, and filled with drama, and that's why we love this game. Phanyaseng now our short stack with 750K. The other stacks all fairly deep. Donnie, are we looking at a scenario where we might get 3-handed quickly and then watch a very competitive battle for many, many hours?
I would not be surprised in the slightest if we get to 3-handed play within the first 20 minutes or so of this final table starting. And then, you know, as you mentioned, if it is Guerra, Troha, and Arieh like it is lining up right now, they'll be pretty deep at that point, and we'll see how it goes. Do need to mention that Little finishing in 6th place, picked up 39 leaderboard points, which is good for him. He's right towards the bottom of that top 40. The top 40 qualifies for the season-ending $1 million free roll that we have on the PokerGO Tour. He was in 39th with 884 points, so he'll add 39 and move up a couple spots there. So not the best pickup end of the day, but still very good for Little in the grand scheme of things.
All right, hand number 2, all in number 2. Phanyaseng all in with ace-jack 9-9 versus the PLO specialist, Lautaro Guerra. Flipping coins here for a potential 5th place for Phanyaseng.
That the 9s might be 52, but I could be really wrong.
Wow.
You're right on.
Josh Arieh knows his numbers. Let's see if the 52 holds up here as 8 deuce rolls off the deck.
Still.
Guerra looking for 1 of 8 outs, 3 of which have already been folded. So realistically, really only 5 chances here to win this thing. And a queen on the turn puts him in the lead. Phanyaseng now looking for a spade, an ace, a deuce, or a 9. River card. 7 of clubs, 2 hands, 2 players down. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Phanyaseng busting out in 5th place.
Are we going to see a third? 3 for 3?
I mean, we could. I mean, it could be a first here inside the studio, losing 3 players in 3 hands. But let's not forget to mention the payouts here, because these players, of course,
let you off that easy.
Collecting some dough along the way. A Little collect 38,750. Phanyaseng taking home 46,500. The final 4 now guaranteed $58,125. Like I said, 178K up top. By the way, we are live today, and today only, on YouTube and PokerGo. The remainder of the series will be focused solely on PokerGo.com, so please know that. If you are a PLO fan, get yourself a PokerGo subscription and join us for what will be a very, very fun week of PLO action leading into the 100K PLO Super High Roller Bowl, which should be quite the spectacle here. Arieh limping in. Guerra raising it up to 300K. Arieh makes the call. We got Jack 3-4 on board. Top 2 for Arieh.
350.
Guerra's going to continue stabbing. Of course, Guerra representing the stronger range here, which will include a lot of big pairs. Arieh comes along, makes the call. Jack of spades on the turn, fills up his full house. Guerra picking up a meaningless flush draw here. Donnie, how often will Guerra think that Arieh is likely to call many flops with wide ranges just because he's in position?
10 seconds.
I mean, the one straight that sticks out to me, or straight draw, I should say, is 5-6. Guerra has 2 6s, so probably rule out some sort of combination that Arieh has there. So I would say Arieh on the flop is trending more towards having some sort of made hand. Even if that's just top pair, it's now improved to trips. So tough spot for Guerra to be in. Of course, if he does make this call and a spade peels off, it's going to be very bad news.
Guerra has to be significantly disincentivized to continue here, given the fact that he's out of position, but he does not believe that Arieh is going to be as strong as we know that he is. Are you surprised to see Guerra come along here out of position? Oh. This could be costly, of course. Guerra knows that full houses are possible, but how many Jack 4, Jack 3 combos limp call, Donnie? That's probably a question that we have to ask ourselves.
I think it's also worth pointing out that Arieh actually improved his full house here. So had he not hit that 9, maybe there's some chance that whatever the river card is, Arieh is like, okay, I'm obviously going to bet my full house, yes, but there is one combination that's better than me. Here, no, he's got the best of it, right? Guerra checks. I mean, 3 million out there. Arieh's got 3.9 behind.
2.2 million is the bet from Arieh. Swinging for the fences here. Guerra backs into a flush. I really like this from Arieh. Clock is ticking for the Spaniard living in Las Vegas. He's got plenty of time extensions to make this decision. And he is going to make the call. Arieh gets maximum value with Jack-9. Guerra backs into a flush, and it costs him the majority of his chips. What an absolute stunner here.
2.2.
And we kick off this final table with 3 massive hands. Back to back to back. Pot Limit Omaha delivers as always. Donnie, from my perspective, perhaps a bit of a simple way of looking at things, but I would just think that the trips perhaps likely, but then when the 9 comes, you got to give Arieh credit for some 9 combos, which make that full house more likely. And, you know, bluffing in this way, the way the hand played out, to me, just did not seem like a very likely scenario.
Thanks.
I would agree. You know, I think it might even be hard for him to pull the trigger there with just a jack. You know, I think he trends to have full houses there. I mean, I'm certainly not a PLO expert, but that's my thought on it. So if you're Guerrero, Josh is capable of bluffing too, right? So then you're like, okay, I have essentially a bluff catcher here. He has it or he doesn't. He obviously had it there, and it's just a tricky spot. But going back to the turn, I mean, that's where you get into yourself into kind of, you know, muddier waters when you call withdrawals on paired boards. It can get tough.
Well, we have a captain in the building, and his name is Josh Arieh, up to 9.1 million. Let me take this moment here on the 4th hand of play to welcome everyone again here to the show, live on YouTube and on PokerGo. Jawless, Joey, Cordial, Punisher, I see you guys in the chat on PokerGo. Thank you so much for being tuned in. I expect you guys to be there every single day. Same goes for Dave Walker. It's Fane. Of course, our moderators, Jimmy Bluffett is in the house. I see Russell, Ian Sharifs is with us. Thank you all so much for showing up. And if you are happening to catch us on YouTube here, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're completely new to us, subscribe to the channel. We got lots going on in the next couple of months. But of course, the name of the game this week will be Pot Limit Omaha. And if you want to follow along with live reporting, we have that as well daily. We got some legends with the pen and paper. Mickey Doff, Tim Duckworth, Brandon Bloom on the floor. Daily live updates until the final table is set, and then Donnie and I will take over the following day with the final table, and we will be joined tomorrow by Jay Nandes in the booth, the mastermind himself, the man behind PLO Mastermind, the presenting sponsor of this series.
I'm curious to peek inside of Josh Arieh's mind, because I believe it was in the spring for the PLO series. He had a massive chip lead, and he, you know, for all intents and purposes, blew it. I think in heads-up play, had a huge chip lead. So I wonder if it's kind of creeping back in his mind, saying like, okay, I got another big chip lead. Let's not let this one go to waste. Let's actually close it out and find ourselves in the winner's circle. Arieh in position here. Was the pre-flop raiser from under the gun. Going to come out betting against Troha. More chips for Arieh there.
Once again, PGT PLO has your live updates, and I mentioned that again because tomorrow's event that we are streaming is the 5K Progressive Bounty is now underway. It's a who's who of big names. Daniel Negreanu already in his seat in the early goings. Bryce Yockey, a former winner, or I should say reigning champ. Sammy Sipola in the mix as well. Dylan Wiseman in the house. John Reardon, Matthew Wantman, Ryan Tosick, Dylan Lindy, Joe Sirach, Alex Foxon, Yoni Yaukaman, and Jim Colby. It is a who's who of some of your favorite high-stakes players. And the Finns, of course, Donnie, probably, I'd set the line at 2.5 wins this week.
10 seconds.
Over. Come on.
Sean, how much are you playing? Like 6?
5.2.
Sean Troha, 3.1 million in career tournament earnings, 111 cashes, 36 years old, from North Olmsted, Ohio, getting in the mix here for the first time today. Arieh not allowing him to see a cheap flop.
10 seconds.
Troha's 3 biggest cashes on the live felt are all Pot Limit Omaha. Winner, of course, of the 10K PLO at the 2022 WSOP. And then this summer, he won the 10K PLO 8. And last year, he won the 1K PLO. So 3 straight years with the bracelet win for Troha. Donnie, who I am going on a limb here saying that he might be a top 3 US-based PLO tournament player.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Under the radar, probably to many. You know, he's very quiet. Doesn't have like a really big, colorful personality, but an absolute crusher when it comes to this game.
10 seconds.
Dr. Costa, the King Jack 10 deuce, double suited, tosses him in the muck. It's a plastic surgeon by trade. Let's see if he can
How much
display some surgical precision here at the final table to acquire some more chips
1.1.
as things develop. This final table, though, for the foreseeable future will be the Josh Arieh show. He's obviously going to try and control the narrative here with the big chip that he has acquired. Queen 7-6, 2 diamonds. Arieh flopping a set. Comes out betting. Guerra with some draws, as you can see on the screen. Odds in PLO generally running very close.
Seconds.
Guerra decides that this draw not worthy of chasing.
Arieh just cruising here.
All right, here's a look at that beautiful Las Vegas skyline to let you know about the PLO trainer presented to you by PLO Mastermind. To transform your PLO game with PLO Mastermind's free PLO trainer pre-flop pass. Unlock free access to optimal 6-max pre-flop ranges for 4-card and 5-card PLO and start evaluating your game today. This limited time offer gives you the tools and community you need to boost your skills and win more. Sign up for free today. No credit card required. Visit PLOmastermind.com/PokerGo before the offer expires. I cannot emphasize enough, if you're watching right now, you better get on that. PLOmastermind.com/PokerGo. Just try it out for free. It is a sweet product, and I don't often use all the products that we recommend because there's not enough time in the day. But this is one of those that I always have open whenever I'm watching PLO or when I'm involved in a series like this, and it has helped me a lot. And I still suck, but I'm trying my very best. 4 hearts for Troha here, coming in with some aggression. And Costa is going to make the call, 10-9-8-6. Now, do you understand Troha taking this approach here? We're playing four-handed, raising with the 4 hearts.
Yeah, I mean he has some high cards that have those good blocker properties that a lot of the PLO players trend towards. So I don't mind it here. Costa out of the way, and Troha takes that one.
One of the things with PLO that always intimidates me, and if you're watching and listening in the chat, please let us know how you feel. I feel like PLO is a game where the bankroll really has to be sufficient, because many times you're just put into positions where you're playing for stacks. And of course, in tournaments, doesn't necessarily apply in the same way, but at the same time, ending up all in, far more likely outcome versus a regular old game of no limit hold'em. Donnie, do you have any reservations about becoming more of a PLO player in the future, and how do you view sort of the game as it pertains to your own play?
Time extension.
I'm going to pause for 1 second while we watch Costa with these aces, and then I'll respond to that, Remko.
Yeah, Costa here, 450 from the small blind, and Troha finds the 7-6-6-5. Definitely
Might take a shot here. Just Costa doesn't have a lot of chips. Troha probably figures his cards are plenty live here, so.
There it is. Troha makes the call. Costa only 175K left behind. Troha, of course, has that type of aces killer hand.
The courage.
And a blind all in here from Costa, very understandable as king, queen, queen rolls off the deck.
That's the kind of form you might not want.
The exact opposite of what Troha was hoping for.
Not gonna fold though.
Can't fold though is what he says. Makes the call, and like as you can see on the screen, only 9% chance to win
Couldn't
here.
ask for a better start hand. Yeah.
Ace, king, queen. I guess.
Oh, you know, after the pre-flop, I couldn't ask for a better starting hand.
God, we can't even make a running straight. That's like impossible.
Costa looking for his second double up here at the final table. Only has to fade one of the two remaining sixes in the deck. Things looking very good for the doctor here. Turn card. 9 of hearts. Always a bit scary. Looks like a 6 a little bit if you squint too much. All safe though for Costa, who is 1 card away from that double up. And a 9 of spades on the river completes the board. Versus for Costa up to 1.4 million. Doesn't hurt Troha too much, but he'd of course much rather see a player hit the rail. All right, back to you, Donnie. Are we ever going to see you play Pot Limit Omaha?
So, I've been playing a little bit more PLO online.
Oh.
Tournaments specifically. I'm not really sure I'm ready to dabble into PLO cash games. Everything I hear from my friends that play PLO cash games, it sounds a bit too volatile for me, just the way that people play them. So I'll avoid that for now, but
Let me count.
He had 450
happy to report also that I
175,
won a PLO
so
tournament not too long ago online.
know.
He had 6 1/4.
So I think I'm
That's
like
12,
starting to be a
50
bit of a
plus 1. He's
PLO
got
pro.
1.4.
You just want to know how much you're going to have to pay to double me up. Okay.
Every time I play a PLO tournament nowadays, I just have
1.4.
like Jane Andes's voice from PLO Mastermind, like in my mind, like I'm trying to like channel like what we've heard from him. And you mentioned, you know, he's going to be joining us in the commentary booth this week, so you know,
And, like,
certainly
7
tune in
levels.
for that if you're out there and you want to
Pretty
get
much
better at
ever.
PLO, because the guy is an absolute
You're
wizard.
peaking.
But you know, just
With
constantly
9
like
blinds.
thinking of all the stuff he's talked about through the years and how
Small
you
but
can
mighty,
apply
man.
blocker
Small but
properties
mighty.
and this and that, and you know what sort of hand ranges you want to play and when you want to attack, when you want to pull it
It's time to
back,
take
and
one off.
I mean just
Yeah, take a
really
breather.
brilliant stuff
Breather.
from Jane Andes, and has certainly helped my PLO game in the recent months. But in general, you know, I think PLO tournaments play maybe a
Lautaro.
little bit more conservative than people
2.4.
might think.
Yep.
You know, like, yeah, there is some volatility, of course, because equities run really close and things can go one way or the other just really on the turn of a card. But in general, you know, you see a lot of the best players out there that we'll see all
we
week
lost
long
the
here at the PLO series. Just, it's not just like this crazy all-in fest that I think the public might think PLO
10
is.
seconds.
It is much more nuanced, much more skillful. I think that'll certainly be on display, you know, all throughout the tournament series, especially at these final tables as we go. So
Yeah, and then you see the Finns at the final table
Oh, yeah.
absolutely mashing.
10 seconds.
But even that, I mean, it's calculated, right? I mean, they know they know the hand ranges and how they stack up based on position and how stacks play and what sort of cards block your opponent's range from having value and all this sort of stuff. So, it is very nuanced, even though it might seem just like chaos.
Well, let's see if we can see some chaos here. Jack 9-4, rainbow flop. Costa limped under the gun. Arieh called and Guerra checked. Guerra flopping 2 pair, jacks and 4s. Costa with the overpair doesn't want to bet here, and a 4 on the turn gives Guerra a full house. Arieh taking a stab at this, probably thinking if no one wants it, I'll give this a whirl.
Yeah, Guerra's turn with the jack 4 full house. Guerra comes along. Might be a tricky spot here for Costa, but I mean, this also looks very strong from Arieh. Yeah, he does get out of the way. Well done there. Good discipline. I mean, Arieh coming out from the small blind. Yeah, he is the chip leader, but betting into 2 people. Guerra, that call, of course.
I mean, for Arieh, this is a one-stab
Yeah,
type
yeah,
deal. You want to see if your opponents are willing to let go for cheap. If not, we can easily surrender. Was not betting a huge draw, did not have lots of equity, and also the way the board runs out doesn't really invite any bluffs either.
10 seconds.
How much are you going to ask for, sir?
Well, it's going to be too much either way.
Time extension.
Don't bet, don't bet, don't bet. Call.
I mean, he didn't even start to push the
No,
chips. He
no,
just
he's-
reached for him.
Oh, man. Love Fist in the chat says, PLO is just fun. 8-hour sessions seem like 3 hours. Texas Hold'em always feels like a long day. Donnie, you've played some long days this year. Do you feel as though one game or the other is more taxing on your focus and the way you play the game?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, PLO, there might be more things you are thinking about, just given the fact that there's more combinations that are possible. But that said, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in no limit hold'em. I mean, if you're either way, it's just if you're really sitting down and paying attention and trying to focus on almost every single thing, pay attention even in the hands that you're not directly involved in because you want to see how your opponents are playing, how the table is playing, etc. Poker is extremely taxing mentally.
I feel like the better you get, the harder it becomes.
Yeah, but there's, that's true. I agree. But it also comes with, like, the better you get, the easier it is to recognize certain things, right? Where you can then, it doesn't take as much mental power to think things through. You might be like, oh, I've seen this before. Like, this guy probably has this sort of hand. This guy has this sort of hand. Whereas, when you're a little bit earlier to starting, you're like, you really have to think things through. It's kind of very strenuous on you. So there are some things that get easier, but then there's also things, like you said, that get harder because then you start going into kind of deeper thought and deeper elements of the game tree and whatnot. And either way, I don't think it ever really gets easier. You see the players talk about it all the time. They play till 1 a.m. They don't have to come back till noon, but they'll talk about how tired they are because it's you don't just stop playing at 1 a.m., go home, and you're in bed by 1:30. There's usually like an hour or two when you have to just kind of wind down, let your mind just chill, let your adrenaline slow down, like all that sort of stuff. And then of course the next day, like, you got to get back into the mindset again. So it's not easy. It's not a direct physical challenge poker, but it's extremely taxing in a lot of ways that I don't think many people would assume. And here we go again.
All right, Josh Arieh going for the knockout with 9-8-7-7. Christopher Costa is all in for 950, holding the king, queen, queen 5.
You want to switch?
No. I'll tell you after the flop.
Costa here, a small favorite versus Arieh. Oh, we can feel the tension in the nerves.
It's intense, man.
It is. It's fun.
It's intense.
That's what makes it fun.
It is, you know? But we got this. Queen on the flop.
This is what we play for. These big moments. Can Costa survive with his pocket queens? Deuce,
that's gonna be a
5,
tough
6.
one to fade.
Rolls off the deck, and Costa said it himself.
Picture.
Tough one to fade here.
We should
as
be able
Arieh.
to baccarat pip squeeze. Like he gets all the lines in the no across.
If you wanted to switch.
Huh?
I do
Oh, yeah. Do you want to switch still?
If they let us.
12
two
outs
picture
twice.
cards,
Still pretty
please.
close. I think
For
we
Arieh.
just flipped equities.
Yeah, 2 picture cards.
Yeah.
7 of clubs on the
I don't
turn.
think they can win.
And
Yeah.
Costa is drawing
Ouch.
dead.
Well,
Wow.
thanks, guys.
What a way to go out for the doctor. Christopher Costa put on a good showing here. 2 double ups, but then he ran into the man of the hour, Josh Arieh, up to 11.5 million chips. Can he even lose this thing is what I'm wondering. Christopher Costa out the door. We'll see more of him in the coming days. I talked to him. He was excited about the series he's played before at the studio, and hopefully we can see him again here at one of the final tables. But Donnie, what a showing here from Arieh.
Yeah, Arieh is one of the best PLO tournament players in the world, for sure, and it's certainly on display today. Probably helps when you're part of Team Lucky there, you know. Can never really seem to lose, I guess, but no, Arieh is one of the best. Also, I mean, you know, for these 3 players, I would expect all 3 of these players to be around for the duration of the series, you know, all the way till the end. So getting a top 3 finish right out of the gate in event number 1, you know, when you're trying to chase down that series leaderboard title, I think it's extremely important. Of course, the player who wins will be the front runner, but again, getting that top 3 finish, getting a lot of points under your belt right out of the gate is really great.
Here's a look at our newest sponsor. It's Kalshi. Kalshi is the first legal exchange in the U.S. where you can trade on the outcome of the upcoming election. Right now on Kalshi.com, markets are available for who will win the presidential election, who will control the House and the Senate, who will win swing states, and more. Sign up now at Kalshi.com/PokerGo, and the first 500 traders who deposit $50 will get a free $20 credit. Own the outcome at Kalshi.com/PokerGo. Get in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. The first 500 get that bonus. I know you're going to want to sweat. I know you're going to want to sweat this. I don't care what team you're on, but as always, Donnie, having a sweat changes things.
Of course. Let's go.
Earl James?
Speaking of sweats,
Yes.
I mean, there might be some people out there that bought some action for Josh Arieh on PokerStake.com.
Oh, there you go.
Plenty of people who have been selling action on PokerStake.com for the PGT events. Probably plenty more for this series. I know Daniel Negreanu, I know Josh Arieh, and I know Jeremy Osmus all have action listed for the $100,000 buy in Super High Rollerball that is coming up in about a week's time. So check that out, PokerStake.com. No free ads, but free ad.
You know what's funny when you brought that up? I was already looking at our live reporting history because I wanted to go through the live reporting of the first inaugural PLO Super High Rollerball because it was such an awesome event, and I wanted to check whether all 3 of these players played that event because I feel as though they all belong in there. But I'm not sure. I'm trying to find this. Oh, here it is. Jared Blesnick, of course, one of the longest final tables we have ever seen. So Troha and Guerra did not play that event, and neither did Arieh. So if they end up playing this year, they would all be first-timers. Some players who are already playing currently in our PLO Series who played last year include Dylan Wiseman, Richard Greco, let me see, Elis Parsonen, Jonas Kronwitter, John Reardon, Daniel Negreanu, Chino Ream, Michael Dueck. So, you know, we're already here. We're already here playing. We're gambling. We're having fun. I was talking to Mickey Doft, who was live reporting on the floor during play yesterday, and he said the atmosphere was great. It was laid back. It was easygoing. There was lots of banter and chatter, and I feel like, though, that perfectly encapsulates what these series are like. And please, you know, you have to realize if you're listening and watching, then you can play inside the studio. People sometimes think that this is invite only. It is not. The PLO series is open to anyone, so better save up, get in the mix.
See, Josh Arieh has bullets for event number 3.
Oh,
up on Poker Stake. Jonathan Little, plenty of stuff. Cherish Andrews is in there, so
10 seconds.
those 2 bullets for Daniel Negreanu in the 100K Super High Roller Bowl is still available.
it is maximum two bullets, right?
Good question. I don't know that for
Well,
sure.
I guess he's planning on spending 200K. Back to the action here. Ace, Ace, 9 on board. Troha, favorite here with the Queen High flush draw, as well as a pair of 6s. Arieh with a very small flush draw, just King High to go along with it. These guys, however, in this blind battle will often clash, so might see some floats, some turn stabs and things of that ilk. And Arieh comes with the small bluff raise. Troha not going anywhere. Makes the call. 4 clubs. Hits on the turn. Donnie, are we assuming and expecting for Arieh to be aggressive enough that we can continue to call here on the turn if he fires again?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's never easy going up out of position against the chip leader. You know, he can obviously end your tournament, but I think Troha would have had enough equity to continue. He does get the check mark here. Arieh, I think, was just waving the white flag, but we'll see if he wants to stab here. Nope.
Good.
He's going to give it up. 6s are going to hold.
Wow, Troha gets it done at showdown here. Arieh gives this one up.
It is 1 re-entry for Super High Rollable PLO. But I believe for the PLO series this year, it's uncapped.
Let's go.
On all the events.
Let's go.
So, could be crazy. I also see that
You needed to make a flush.
Alex Foxen
Oh,
has action listed on Poker Stake for the Super High Rollable PLO. So, you know, there's 4 players.
I mean,
Foxen, Negreanu,
You're one of
Arieh, and Osmus. I
400K
mean, you
more.
get a piece of all 4 of them. That seems pretty good, if you ask me.
we have a Snotrot in the chat on PokerGo saying, I have a piece of Josh from PokerStake for this event. So, Snotrot, thanks for watching. You are watching your investment grow right here on the stream, which is pretty cool.
10 seconds.
Arieh attacking. Gets it done here from the small blind. Guerra, the short stack right now at this final table, sitting on 16 big blinds. Still plenty of chips to maneuver. And as you mentioned, Donnie, PLO does allow for some more patience, even though there is a big blind ante that does not count towards the pot size raise before the flop. It will, however, incentivize players, especially short-handed, to keep their foot on the gas pedal just a little more.
There's a mountain of chips over there for Josh.
Are we at a point now, Donnie, where Arieh is sort of raising every hand automatically just to keep the pressure on?
10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he might, throw away like the worst hands, but I think a lot of the times he's just gonna almost find an excuse to raise as opposed to finding an excuse to fold.
Ace Queen 9, rainbow flop. Arieh with the best of it here. Multiple ways to make a straight here on this board. Jack will be the worst card for Troha, as Arieh would make a higher straight.
400 now.
Arieh bets and takes it down. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is event 1 of the PGT PLO Series coming at you from the PokerGO studio in Las Vegas. Here's a look at the payouts. $77,500 for third, $112K for second, and $178K for first. We're streaming today's event for free on both YouTube and PokerGO, and starting tomorrow will be on PokerGO only. So please get your subscriptions now if you're a PLO fan. We have plenty of big events to come. And I'm most excited about the progressive bounties. The first one we are showing tomorrow, 5K buy-in. Lots of gambling, lots of action. Then we have another 5K. Then we have a 10K, a 15K progressive bounty, a 10K PLO, a 15K PLO, and then the 25K championship event, which airs on the 22nd of October. Donnie, we are even streaming on Sunday. What is going on?
1 point.
Don't look at me,
7,
man.
1.8
I thought
back.
Sundays were
Isn't it football
Lord's
season?
Day.
Yeah, isn't it football season?
by the Lord. I mean, Patrick Mahomes,
Exactly.
Tom Brady. I mean, whoever. No, I think they made that rule and they were like, it's only for the majors. Donnie and Remko, they got to work Sundays. This is how it is.
We don't wager enough on football to be exempt from that.
I kind of like. I got used to the Sundays off. At first, I was like, it seems weird. Oh, here we go.
Wow. Guerra, 525 pre-flop. Arieh made the call, and then on the flop, Arieh put it in there, and Guerra shoved all in for
Fair
just
fight.
a hair more. And here we have a massive showdown, 4.8 million in the middle. Guerra's tournament life on the line with kings versus the wrap with a pair. Looking at a 50-50 situation here. Turn card is the 3 of spades. Guerra now a slightly bigger favored. Arieh looking for any of those cards you see at the top of your screen. Plenty of outs here for the multiple-time bracelet winner. River card is the king of
Fucking
hearts. And Guerra keeps his hopes alive of a win in this event. Arieh, however, still maintains his chip lead.
1775.
Donnie Balmer Tom in the chat is asking, is there a PGT points breakdown for these events somewhere? And please enlighten us a little bit on how the system works and what we're playing for.
And
Yeah, up until
this is the last.
25K buy-in price point, it's 1-to-1. So here there's $178,250 for first place. That equates to 178 points. That would round up if it was, let's say,
you're bringing Clyde in.
$178,600.
Short
It would
arms.
round up to 179. So anything up to a 25K buy-in is just 1-to-1 on points. So just take the dollar amount, slash off everything after the comma, and go from there.
All right, here's a look at Club WPT Gold. Thanks to the World Poker Tour, you could be playing in a record-setting $5 million free roll this December in support of the Club WPT Gold launch. For your chance to be one of the lucky ones competing in the biggest free roll of all time, live in Las Vegas to win $1 million first prize, head to clubwptgold.com right now and sign up for free. Registration just takes a couple of minutes and could result in your
Nice to meet
winning a golden passport to play in the Club WPT $5 million free roll at the WPT World Championship in December. That's clubwptgold.com. Sign up for free today. Yes, that is free. clubwptgold.com. Donnie, lots of free stuff today. How have we pulled this off? I love this. Free stuff all
Don't
around.
ask me.
So
I mean, this free roll, by the way, is insane.
yeah,
$5 million free roll. Literally, all you have to do is go to clubwptgold.com PGTGold.com and sign up. That's all you have to do, and you get entered into the sweepstakes. There's going to be right around 2,000 people that are drawn to come out to Vegas and play in that free roll. That is going to have a $1 million first place prize. There's also going to be 100 seats as part of like a mystery bounty element that are awarded to the $10,000 WPT World Championship. Like the whole thing is just wild. Biggest free roll in poker history that I know of.
Yep.
I don't know of a bigger one. So I think you should get in there. I signed up for clubwptgold.com. Everyone should.
I'm on it right now. All right, we have $1 million in the middle here. Arieh limped, Guerra checked. Arieh bet 200K on the flop, Guerra called, and then Arieh with a bet of 500K on the turn takes this one down, establishing his dominance yet again.
Give me 2 racks.
So Arieh sitting on 57% of the chips in play. Guerra and Troha now very, very close together. Donnie, does this affect the way the tournament plays out now that Guerra and Troha are so similar in chips?
I mean, it's still going to be Josh Arieh really driving the action, you know. I guess the two are still going to be jockeying for a position in some degree, but, you know, for Troha, now that Guerra has doubled up, you know, it's not just kind of like, okay, let's see if this guy over here busts first, and then I'll take it from there. So might open things up a little bit here.
Arieh, again, come with the aggression, like we mentioned. He has more reasons to raise than not to raise. King Jack 10-5 gets involved and gets called by Troha. 8-8-3, 2 spades.
Time extension. Check.
King 9-5 deuce not looking too hot on a flop like this. Arieh with a flush draw, bunch of overcards. Should be enough for him to continue.
Bet 350.
Arieh does continue for 350, and that's enough to end this hand.
Rack 'em, Josh. Let's go. It's not going to look as cool.
2.5.
Thank you.
Let us know in the chat if you think that Arieh is going to close this one out, or if there's any pirates in the waters looking to take this one away.
I mean, it's still pretty deep, these players.
10 seconds.
Troha shortest, but I mean, he's got 17 bigs to work with. I mean, he's not doing terrible. He's going to start with a limp here out of the small. Would expect Arieh hits him with a raise at the ace, king, queen, 3 double suited.
10 seconds.
There is that raise. Troha good enough here to come along. Suited and hearts, we can obviously see that those are dominated, but has the rundown as well. Wow. Queen, 9-9. 2 pair for Arieh with some backdoor spades. 3 of a kind over there for Troha.
This could be the pathway to Troha getting right back in this thing. Or I should say give himself a better chance, because there's a lot of chips up for grabs here. Now, Donnie, do you give Arieh some rope here? Do you want him to continue? Or are situations like this in PLO just too tricky to get tricky?
I could see Troha going either way. The presence of the flush draw, I think, might make him lean to raising more so than not. There's also some, straight draw combinations, of course. if you had a little bit more of like a hand that blocked some of those draws, like let's say you had the 10 of clubs in your hand, right? Then I think maybe you're a little bit more inclined to call. But yeah, Troha is going to come with the check raise here. And he's just going to try and get this money in now. Realize his equity in full, not get shut out on, you know, any bad cards. And Arieh now has the decision. Feels like an interesting combination of cards that Arieh has because he doesn't have any clubs. He doesn't have like a Jack-10 in his hand. So could Troha have like the Jack-10 of clubs, like and just doing this with a draw that has a, you know, he figures that has a ton of equity as long as Josh doesn't have a 9. So that puts Arieh in a tricky spot. Then if you're Arieh, I mean, do you really want to double up Troha? Like, no, you don't. You want to just continue to keep these guys at arm's length and just continue to put the pressure on them. So, tough spot here for Josh.
If I had a club in my hand, it's a pretty easy fold, but I don't have a club in my hand.
See?
Wow.
Thinking
Oh, you
Troha
have
could just be running this with you know, a flush
Oh,
draw.
you're just going to take them all?
Arieh
Okay,
not
Sean.
finding the worth in clashing
win.
here. And he does
Good-
let it
good
go.
discipline.
Yeah, very good. Very good discipline from Arieh.
You heard Arieh say there that if he did have a club in his hand, and especially if it was a big club, he probably would have put his hand in the muck much
Oh,
sooner.
I'm going to look like an idiot folding there.
You were correct,
'Cause
sir.
I am.
You were pretty spot on. The recently married Josh Arieh.
Sean Deeb is talking about how bad I am right now.
Where is Deeb, by the way? You know he was out here for the recent Duel Now event
Oh, wow.
that was held in the studio like a couple days ago. But
What? Why didn't
not
he
going to play
stay?
PLO?
Isn't that his one of his,
That's what
one
I
of his
mean.
favorite games?
Didn't he win the 25K PLO at the WSOP? Like, I mean, come on, Sean, where you at?
That's just that's just ridiculous.
10 seconds.
Queen Jack 9-7 here for Arieh. Makes the call.
Check.
Guerra checks in the big blind. 8-8-5 deuce for him. Ace Jack 8. Set of 8s for Guerra. Still 19% equity for Arieh over there. Flop the pair with some draws. $200K from Josh. Lautaro makes the call. Queen on the turn. Now 2 pair for Josh Arieh, but might just get him in some more trouble. The diamonds also giving Guerra a backdoor flush draw along with his set.
Looks as though the poker gods are trying to even this match out just a little more as the 10 of clubs hits on the river. And Arieh has things swing in his favor, making a straight on the river.
I just felt like he was going to get there.
I mean, still, you know, Guerra did not bet on the turn, clearly
Check.
signaling
Straight.
a lack of confidence in his set. And it goes check, check, and Arieh takes this one down.
that inaugural PGT PLO series that we had a year and a half ago, Lautaro Guerra, who was, I would say, unknown at the time, at least to us in general. You know, probably known if you're a PLO enthusiast or a PLO diehard, but cashed in 3 events, won all 3 of those events that he cashed in, including the final event, 25K finale. A really big breakout series for Lautaro Guerra there. PLO specialist for sure. Now, I just expect him to do well at the PGT PLO series every time. Just raise on the button from Arieh, continuing to apply that pressure. Queen 10, 5, 3 for him. Guerra thinking about this one. Ace, Jack, 4, deuce, double suited. Does have that ace. Troha, ace, 4, 3, 3. He's out of the way. Arieh is out of the way, and Guerra chips up some more, or chips back up, I should say. Still neck and neck, Guerra and Troha, and then Arieh well out in front with the lead.
One of our chatters on PokerGO says Troha way underrated. Won a bracelet each of the last 3 years. Yeah, alluded to it earlier. Back-to-back-to-back years winning a PLO bracelet here in Las Vegas. Troha definitely one of those understated champs, big-time winner. Very fun to watch him. Josh Arieh in the chat says, Josh Arieh is my hero. Josh Arieh would say that.
Oh, yeah. I see Balmer Tom in the YouTube chat saying, just registered and verified on clubwptgold.com.
Oh, here we go.
Let's go.
So,
Tom, if you win, like, do we get a piece? Like, because we told you about this.
Exactly.
So we should have at least 1% each, Remko and I.
Absolutely.
That's how this works.
And
can you just confirm in the chat, and then we know we're good, right?
And then we'll be on the rail too. I'll make a sign. I'll make a big sign. Ace 8, 4, 2 hearts. Action goes check check. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Guerra here, well out in front. Pair, straight draw. While Arieh is left with just a gutty.
450.
450.
450.
Guerra bets 450, gets it done. Arieh still with more than 50% of the chips in play, even though he doubled up Guerra.
Raise 600.
600K. Arieh was a 3x raise
10 seconds.
from the small blind. Blinds, by the way, have gone up 100K, 200K, with the 200K going ante, and Guerra is going to make the call. King 9-4, rainbow.
Bet 500.
Arieh bets 500K on King 9-4. Guerra, meanwhile, top pair with the gut shot. Arieh counting on backdoor spades, backdoor draw potential as well as his pair of nines. So
He'll probably get there. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Team Lucky is just bound to get there. And look at this. Guerra comes over the top with the pot size raise, and that's too rich for Josh Arieh.
See a question, where's Jay Nandez? Well, I'm pretty sure he's out there in event number 2
Yeah,
on the other side of the studio.
He's grinding.
And then, as Remko mentioned earlier, the plan is for him to join the booth tomorrow, pending he doesn't make the final table,
Yeah.
which we have seen before at the PGT PLO Series for Jay Nandez, so don't rule it out.
It's funny you say that because I was talking to Fernando before the stream started, and I told him, like, oh, it'd be great to have you in the booth. And he, of course, said, well, first I'm going to try to make this final table. Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, priorities, right?
Fair enough. Arieh with the raise. Troha, this time the one making the call. Mystery cards to keep it fun. Troha checks from the big blind. Troha lets it go, and Arieh chips up a little bit again.
Okay, thank
Final 3 players here, guaranteed $77,500 from this 5K buy-in event. $178,000 up top for the winner. Great way to start the series.
Josh, how much do you have now? 10?
6, 8, 9, 3, 9, 7, 10.
Thanks.
Ace, King, Queen, 6 with a suit for Guerra.
I mean, this could be fireworks. Troha, however, decides to just call, and Arieh gets involved. So perhaps now we get fireworks because of the three-handed nature of this hand. And 6-5-3 gives Arieh a set of fives. No diamonds for anyone, so might make it tough to become a real big clash.
Yeah, just quickly, remember, if you are new to PLO, you have to play 2 cards from your hand. So Guerra there with that Queen of Diamonds. When Remko says no diamonds, it's because you have to have 2 in your hand to play them. He can't just chase a flush draw like and hold them with 1 of the suit. Arieh takes that one with a bet and extends that lead. Now you see a little separation between Guerra and Troha. Guerra firmly in second. And Troha is rounding out the group in third. 16 big blinds for him. Ace, Queen, 5-4. Double for Mr. Josh Arieh. He's in there. King, King, Queen, 7 double for Guerra in the big blind. Arieh came in with a raise here.
10 seconds.
This might be enough that Guerra says, let's just go.
What?
Yep, here
Yeah,
we go.
there it is. Pot size re-raise from Guerra. Makes it 1.8 million. Now, Guerra started this hand with 28 big blinds, so to get the money in here would, of course, involve Arieh coming back over the top for a pot size raise. Now, most likely scenario here, and he does that as I'm speaking, that he's going to make the call here, but he is going to be out of position, Donnie. Very awkward situation here for Arieh.
Yeah, it is awkward. You know, I think he's got good enough of a hand. He's the core has the chip lead, so can apply maximum pressure on future streets, and we'll see how this one goes. Ooh, top set here for Guerra.
Wow. Arieh with the gut shot, some backdoors as well, but not a promising flop for him in the slightest.
I don't think you're really often inclined to just be giving free cards like you might kind of tend to do, at least a little bit more so in Hold'em in PLO. So I would expect a bet here from Guerra. You know, just try and get the money in. He can go for any sizing up to his full stack because he does have less than pot behind. Looks like 700. Yep, 700 into 3.8 million. All right, Arieh's going to see the turn here.
Wow, this is absolutely massive. 5.2 million in the middle. Donnie, what's Arieh's thought process here to continue out of position, not with a whole lot of outs, and you know he has some nut outs here, but still not a comfortable spot to be in.
No, it's not. I mean, maybe he's thinking, oh wow, he's going to go for this.
Oh my God. And Josh Arieh caught red-handed. Now, of course, he's not drawing dead, let's be real, but that was a big move, and this could totally swing the odds of the outcome of this final table, as Lautaro Guerra is a clean card away from having a massive chip lead. Arieh looking for a 10 or a 3, or else he'll be left with 4.9 million. Absolutely massive. 20% equity for Arieh still. But Guerra in a fantastic spot to become the chip leader. Here's the river card. Let's see it. It's the Jack of Spades.
How much is it?
And for good measure, Guerra turns his set into a full house. And now Josh Arieh, Donnie, going from top contender to perhaps defender,
25
as he
short.
now has to concern himself with Sean Troha for sizable pay jump here for second place.
Yeah, of course. My guess there is that Arieh was thinking, you know, if Guerra's got a hand like Ace King, XX, you know, aces in his hand, I know that Arieh does block that to some degree, but those are hands that he can put in a really tough spot and possibly make fold. You know, turning that 5, Arieh having a 5 in his hand, I think you block if Guerra has, you know, an Ace King something 5, like you block him obviously turning 2 pairs there. So interesting spots.
And with that, Guerra now overwhelming chip leader. Once again, shout out to everyone hanging out with us in the chat. John Michael says, watching from Salt Lake City, Utah, drinking some coffee. Donnie Peters is the GOAT. Sorry, Remko. God, what did I do? John Michael, podcast fan, Donnie, he's asking, when's the pod coming?
Well, we just did one on, I think, Friday. It was literally all PLO. That's all we talked about. Tim Duckworth and I, we did our PLO Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
You know, we talked like who's on our PLO Mount Rushmore. We did some fantasy.
So I haven't listened. I mean, let's see what if this hand develops in any way. But I want to guess on who you guys put on the PLO Mount Rushmore.
Well, I mean, Tim put some.
I
Tim
mean,
doesn't even count.
I need to take some swings here once this hand is over, because I've got a few ideas here. Call has been made by Troha. We're going to see a flop here with 1.4 million in the middle. 8-6-6. Overcards, clubs, Straight draw here for Troha Guerra with 7-4 clubs. Excuse me, 7-4 and the 5. So
It feels like this money's just going to go in.
correct me if I'm wrong, but how does it not go in here?
I mean, I know like no one has anything right now, but you know this money's going in.
400K is the bet from Guerra. Action back on Troha. Just makes the call. Turn card is the 5 of clubs. And Lautaro Guerra makes a straight flush while Sean Troha makes a king high flush. That's PLO for you right there.
What a turn card.
Oh my God.
Are you serious right now?
The tournament will be down to heads up play when this hand has been concluded, because what a disaster for Troha, who thinks he's got a decent spot here. Now, of course, you know, he could be concerned about some full house potential, but overall, this is what you're looking for when you're playing three-handed PLO with lots of money on the line, making a king-high flush. Not a bad one.
Yeah, maybe if there was some sort of different scenario with how the leaderboard is, but Troha being the shortest stack, like I don't see how he doesn't get his money in here, right? I mean, he has to try and make something happen. He has the least ICM pressure on him, so this is going to go in here. I would imagine Lautaro here comes for all of it.
All right, so Guerra with the straight flush. Action is on him. Keep in mind, there's almost a $50,000 pay jump between third and second. And there it is. Guerra takes the swing that will knock out Troha if he makes the call.
It's going to be one of those sigh, call.
What a horrible situation for Troha. Now, of course, the spot is not as easy as it might seem on the surface. He does not have the nuts, but ultimately, a king-high flush, very strong in three-handed PLO play. A little glance over at the clock.
Time extension.
Troha started this hand with 16 big blinds. He's got to glance back at his cards. Probably trying to find a hand he beats. And is he going to let this one go? He does. And that's why Sean Troha is one of the best in the business. Makes a king-high flush, and he lets it go as Lautaro Guerra tosses the straight flush into the muck. No one gets to see it, but he definitely gets to remember
Is anybody
this
verifying this draw?
as one of his favorite hands.
Incredible fold.
Wow.
To be, I mean, just an incredible
We
fold.
were already mentally heads up, you and I.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
We were saying this is going to
Sorry
go in.
about that.
I mean, not easy to make that fold there, of course. Not
can
easy
prevent
when
it.
you're as short as Troha is. He folds there. He knows he's leaving himself with fewer than 9 big blinds. Not a fun spot to be in. I personally probably would have just side called and, you know, just gone with it. I mean,
Some names I have, Donnie, for you for the PLO
7.
Mount Rushmore. Phil Galfond came to mind right away.
he was first on mine.
Jason Mercer,
Nope. I didn't have him on mine.
I would say Jens Kilonen.
I had Jens on mine as well.
And then you can make the case for a bunch more Finns. Patrick Antonius was always a Omaha crusher. I would probably put him up there.
Yep. I basically went Galfond, Kilonen, and then I had 3 players that I was debating between 2 spots.
Okay.
And Antonius was one of those 3.
Oh, well, sort of on the same page then. And Sean Troha.
And Sean Troha.
Who did Tim say?
I think he said like Dylan Wiseman.
I mean, Dylan Wiseman is building that resume.
I understand. I mean, and it's not that Dylan Wiseman isn't a world-class PLO player, one of the absolute best in the world, top 3. You could even argue that he might be the best right now. Like, when I think Mount Rushmore, I think, like, history, right? So, like, I think Dylan Wiseman's career is just a little bit young for that. Like, Jens Kielinen, like, came, essentially, like, changed the game. You know, like, his talent was, like, ahead of the time. Bit of a pioneer in a lot of ways, and then he bounced and booked a ticket to the moon. I mean, that's my other 2 were Victor Blom.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, like, he's also someone who, like, his window was smaller, but it was, his height was so high. Like, he really, like, people started changing the way that they think about PLO, at least in my opinion, because of how Victor Blom played the game.
Right.
And he absolutely went to war with Patrick Antonius over and over and over again.
But then are you putting Brian Hastings in there?
No.
He took him down.
I know. I also had Ben Tolerian in the conversation.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
Paxton probably could be included too.
I mean, there's a ton of incredible PLO players. So it's, at the end of the day, it's super hard to narrow it down to 4. It really is. But you know, that's ultimately the 4/5 that I had on my PLO Mount Rushmore list.
All right, Arieh raising to 400K. Guerra makes the call. King, Queen, Jack 9. Ace 4/6 on the flop.
Check. Bet 300.
All right, that's 300K. Two very similar hands. This will very often end in whoever wants to stab first, and it does. By the way, if you're catching us on YouTube today, please know that this is our only YouTube stream of the series. We're going to be on PokerGo for the duration of the PGT PLO series. All right, here's something exciting that is coming up on Tuesday, November 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It is a high-stakes duel featuring Patrick Antonius and Jared Blesnik. The 2 stars are putting up 50K each, and the stakes will double until one player quits. Yes, you heard that right. The 2 will show off their versatility by playing half No Limit Hold'em, half PLO, and you can watch the battle exclusively on PokerGo. Round 1 streams Tuesday, November 12th. Don't miss it, and I mean it when I say that. Don't miss it.
Yeah, speaking of PLO legends, I mean,
oh yeah,
in a lot of ways, those guys could
Those
be
2.
on PLO Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Antonius recently inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. Blesnik won his first bracelet this year. Also, the reigning champion, the first ever champion of Super High Roller Bowl PLO. Are these new chips? I've never seen these.
Oh, wow.
What are these? They got to tell us this stuff.
250Ks? Have to be 250Ks.
Yeah, or 500, one or the other. I would assume.
Are
right?
we going to call them like lollipops?
Yeah, they do.
Got candy,
they look
candy
like,
vibe. They got a candy vibe.
They look like bubblegum lollipops.
Right. All right, we got the lollipop chips in play. You heard it here first. All right, still 3-handed. The Arieh rush has ended, but Sean Troha now, the man on the ropes, down to just 8 big blinds. He will need to make something happen real soon.
I'm told those lollipops are 500K.
Okay.
Producer Aiden coming through.
500,000, just imagine.
Those are brand new, huh? Look at that. Aces for Lautaro here. Could be bad news for Troha. He's only got 1.1 million back.
10 seconds.
Troha in the big blind already paying $500,000. With
It's an interesting push.
all right, so Troha all in here for 1.3 million with ace queen 8-6 suited in diamonds. Guerra looking for spades, but he doesn't need to hit as his aces are in the lead currently. Sean Troha risking elimination here, 27% to survive, or else we'll see Arieh heads up versus Guerra. Troha folding that king high flush earlier, probably still thinking of that hand, but he will get the good news when he watches back the stream that that was actually a good fold. And here comes the flop. Queen 9-3, 2 spades. Spades, of course, belong to Guerra. Troha looking for a queen, an 8 or a 6. Cannot be a spade. 6 outs twice here for Troha. And a spade on the turn, which is the ace of spades. So with that, Sean Troha drawing dead, heading to the river. And he will be our third place finisher. Great showing by Troha, but ultimately he will take home $77,500. And we are down to heads-up play between Josh Arieh and Lautaro Guerra.
Do you want me to move closer to him?
Guerra, the winner of the inaugural PGT PLO Series. Looking for his second one and off to a good start already.
Pause.
Collecting points and cash. The same, of course, can be said for Josh Arieh, who would also like to add a trophy to his resume here inside the PokerGO studio.
So he is big blind?
You were just a big blind, right?
No, I was small one.
Well,
So he was
so
a
big
big
blind
that's right.
natural, yeah.
All right, so playing 125, 250. No breaks. These men are just going to keep on firing. It's been a very fast final table, Donnie.
It has. These guys have been blasting. The hands have been big. Speaking of big, got a nice big chip lead here for Lautaro Guerra.
Is Arieh going to be in a position now, Donnie, where he can just be satisfied with getting at least 2 heads up and now perhaps willing to take a risk or two, knowing it's going to take more than just 1 double up?
I mean, yes and no. Knowing Josh Arieh, I know how competitive he is, and he wants to win arguably more than any other poker player out there. You know, he's had obviously a ton of success over his career, yes, but I just feel like somewhere in his mind is
It's not going to take that long.
that last PLO series when he had the big chip lead and he lost it heads up and he lost the title, right?
Right.
And now, yeah, he lost the big chip lead a little bit earlier, but he's back in heads up play. That trophy is back on the table. Can he grab it?
What?
2 pair for Guerra to kick things off. King, Queen, 10-4, 1 suit for Arieh. He's just going to make the call. Nine, 6-4, 2 diamonds. Guerra flopping a set of 6s. Arieh has to count his blessings for not flopping a strong hand here. $400K the bet by Guerra. Action on Arieh. And look at this. He's going to make the call. Come along. Very concerning here, as improving would only make things worse for Arieh. 5 on the turn gives Guerra the check mark. Arieh drawing dead.
Check.
Of course, the 9 played well with the King, Queen, 10. But any card that's not the King, Queen, 10 or Jack would make it a lot harder to continue. And right now, as you can see, drawing dead.
10 seconds.
Guerra reaching.
1.1.
Aria lets it go, and he is now down to 3.2 million, pushing him further into the danger zone. It's going to take multiple double-ups for him to get back in the mix here. And let me remind you, by the way, that the PGT PLO Series can also be followed on PGT.com. We have live reporting of every event, and the Progressive Bounty is currently underway. Daniel Negreanu in the mix, along with some other players that you are going to be very familiar with. It's a pretty lively bunch there inside the PokerGO studio. And if you're in Las Vegas, please don't hesitate to stop by here on the Las Vegas Strip, just a few short minutes away from the Aria Poker Room.
You know who I saw here today?
No.
Anthony Davis of the Lakers.
Anthony Davis?
Yeah, I guess there's a Lakers-Warriors preseason game at T-Mobile tonight.
Oh, my God.
But I went to get a coffee with our colleague Tim Duckworth, and walking around Aria is Anthony Davis, the old 7'8" guy. Like
I was gonna say, how tall is he?
Super tall. I mean, you know,
they look even taller
enormous.
when they look even taller when they're surrounded by normal people. Like when you see basketball players as a group, they're all tall, so it's kind of hard for them to stick out.
Yep.
Unless you see like Kyle Lowry next to LeBron James. Oh, by the way, we got some action here. Aria bet 600K. Guerra is going to make the call. Both players on a draw here. 8 of hearts on the turn. Puts a second heart out there. No player with hearts, but as you can see on the screen, equity's running really, really closely here. Guerra with 2 pair, 8s and 6s. Arieh with a pair of 10s and could hit one of his kickers to make a straight, but it can't, or to make a better 2 pair, but not all those cards are in play as
1,950,000.
well, I guess those 2 pair cards are live. I misspoke. But here we go. Guerra applying the pressure. And Arieh, Donnie, he looks to be interested here.
Yeah, but I always thought that
10 seconds.
whenever you stand up, you don't not put the money in.
Right.
Time extension.
Arieh with a pair of 10s, and he's going to go for
go.
it here. Moves all in. Guerra with the snap call, and Arieh, as you can see on the screen, with 18 outs to double up here. 18 outs, Donnie. The screen almost not big enough to display all the outs, but at the end of the day, he's going to need to hit, and Guerra just needs to fade. Lautaro Guerra, can he close it out and win event 1 of this PGT PLO series? River card is the Jack of Clubs, and that will do it. It was not one of the 18 cards that he needed, as Josh Arieh will exit the stage, being our second place finisher. Arieh collects $112,000 for his efforts, and we'll see him in every upcoming event here in the studio, as he will chase the leaderboard. And Lautaro Guerra is going to be our event number 1 champion. You see it there on the trophy. The black box goes home to Guerra. I'm sure Sam Abernathy, his wife, will be very pleased to add more decorations to what I'm assuming will be a nice little trophy case inside the
He has
home
his
there.
own trophy case just for the PLO series.
Yes. they can play Tetris with all these black boxes that he's won. All right. Shout out to Lautaro Guerra, the winner of event number 1 for $178,000. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters joined me in the booth. It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you all so much for joining us. Tomorrow we are back at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Jay Nandes joining us in the booth to provide some commentary. And here's a look inside the room. Big action tomorrow on PokerGO.com. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.